Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new here, my name is Jade, and if you're returning, welcome back. I've missed you. In today's video, I'm actually quite excited to do this one because it's all about productivity and basically how I get everything done. So if you follow me on Instagram, you'll know that I sometimes upload stories where I break down every single thing that I'm doing that day. So when I do these stories, I'll put an example here. I get a lot of messages from you guys being like, how do you get all of that done in one day? Like, spill the tea, please let us know how we can do the same thing. And do you know what? As soon as I started sharing those stories, it really made me realize like how productive I have managed to make myself through just years and years and years of practice. Like, it's taken me a long time to get to this level of productivity and efficiency. So I figured, why not share my top tips that I've learned over the years of me trying to refine my processes and get to a point where I'm super productive with you guys. Caveat, I'm definitely not always productive. Let's not pretend I'm not always productive, but a good few times a week I'm productive, right? And now I'm going to share with you how. Okay, so a quick piece of context for anyone who's new to my channel. I am a content creator who creates content for other creators. I help creators start businesses, grow their online presence, multiply their streams of income, work with brands, etc., etc. I do this full time. So this is my full-time job. This is my business that I run all the time. However, I did used to do this alongside a full-time job for, I think it was like a year. It was for a little while, right? I think it was about 9-10 months. So the productivity secrets, shall we call them, that I'm going to be sharing with you in this video, I actually developed whilst I was working full time and trying to grow and scale this business, because obviously that was the time when I was the most stretched and I was having to do the most amount of things in one day. So I actually developed these kind of skills and practices back then, or I learned about these skills and practices back then, and then I've refined them and carried them on to the present day where I use them to run my business. So it doesn't really matter if you're a part-time creator or a full-time entrepreneur, or if you don't do any of those things, you don't want to do any of those things, but you have a really busy job. Like, it doesn't really matter what you're doing. These tips should help you. So my first productivity secret, this is not a secret, like, this is not a secret because then I wouldn't be sharing it on my YouTube channel. I'm going to call it a secret anyway, is time blocking. Time blocking is my savior. I wanted to start with time blocking because it is hands down the most significant thing that I do that impacts my day-to-day life and also how I just manage my business. So if you're new to the concept of time blocking, it quite literally involves you blocking out certain periods of time for you to complete tasks. So people do this in a variety of different ways. Like, some people time block on their calendar. So they'll literally schedule meetings in their calendar, and rather than them being actual meetings with someone else, it's literally just blocks of time that they've dedicated to completing a task. Now, I don't actually do it that way. I like to write all of mine down, and I'll talk about why I like to write things down versus using my calendar in a moment, but I like to write everything down. So I literally sit down every single morning, I get my planner out, and I look at my to-do list. I then map out my entire day based on my to-do list and based on any meetings that I have scheduled. I've literally done this for over 10 years. I've used this as a way to manage my day. I get incredibly granular about the time that I allow to do each thing. And the more you do it, the easier you'll find actually figuring out how much time you need to complete each task. So for example, in any one given day, I might need to record 2 YouTube videos, a podcast episode. I might need to create a masterclass for my membership club. And then amongst all of that, I need to dedicate time to my business as usual tasks. So things like looking through my DMs and responding to DMs, or responding to Instagram comments or YouTube comments, things like looking through my emails and responding to those, like other things that you have to do every single day, like posting on TikTok, right? You have to make sure that you've included those in your day plan as well, because otherwise what you'll end up doing is scheduling your day around your big tasks, and then you forget to do all your other tasks, which may not be as significant, but still need to get done. So I'll literally look at my to-do list for the day. I'll look at all the things that I need to do, and then I will literally plot all of those down and assign a specific amount of time for me to work on each of them. So in the morning, I might say, fine, from the hours 7 until 7:30, I'm going to spend that time prepping for my YouTube videos. I'm then going to spend 7:30 to 10:30 filming my YouTube videos. I'm then going to spend 10:30 to 11:30 prepping for my podcast episode. I'm then going to spend 11:30 to 12:30 recording my podcast episode. And then I'll schedule in a lunch break. I schedule in my breaks as well. I schedule in walks. I schedule in my gym. So I might schedule in about a 2-hour lunch break. I'm quite cheeky with my lunch breaks. I like to take, sometimes I take 3 hours. Like, sometimes I schedule naps. So as long as you schedule them in your diary, like, it's totally fine, right? So I'll schedule in my lunch break, my walk, my nap, whatever, and then I'll get back on it and I'll schedule in half an hour to work on my emails at like 2:30, and so on and so forth. So that's essentially what I do when it comes to time blocking and planning my day. One of the reasons why this works super, super well is because it forces you to assess whether or not you have enough time in your day to get everything done, right? Because we've all been there before, right? You have this huge to-do list and then you start the day thinking, yeah, I'm just gonna absolutely smash it. I'm just gonna work really hard and I'm gonna get it all done. Even though if you actually sat down and worked out how much time you need to get everything on that list done, you'd probably realize that you actually need 16 hours and therefore you can't get it all done in that day anyway. So what ends up happening, because you've not time blocked, is you spend 8 hours working, you look at your to-do list and you realize that you've only got half of it done, right? And then you're annoyed with yourself and you're like, oh, I should have just worked harder. Whereas if you time blocked from the start of the day, then you would have known how much you can actually get done that day. And then you would know to reschedule some other things and push them back to later in the week, or maybe get rid of them entirely, right? So that's why time blocking works super, super well for me. And if you've not tried it before, I really recommend giving it a go, but really sticking with it for at least a month, I would say, because it's just one of those habits that's it's easy to not stick to if you don't see the immediate benefit, but you only see the immediate benefit when you've been doing it for a while. I feel like we can't do a video on productivity without talking about prioritization. Forgive me for blending into my background. This happens all the time in my videos. This is the problem when you have one color palette and all of your clothes and your entire flat is aligned with that color palette. Yes, everything matches, but you also blend into everything. Anyway, let's talk a bit about prioritization, because this is essential when it comes to actually being productive and really efficient with your workload. You need to make sure that you're prioritizing, because we can't do it all, right? And if you try to do everything, you won't be able to do everything well, and you probably won't be able to do everything in general, to be honest. So I have a few tips that I follow that help me prioritize my workload, because it's quite common that I get to a stage in my business, like every few months, where I suddenly look at my to-do list and my planners and I think, wait, there's way too much stuff on here. I actually had that moment literally a week ago where I had to reshuffle a lot of things and remove a lot of stuff because I realized there wasn't enough time in the day for me to get any of this stuff done. So therefore some things had to be removed. And this is how I decided which things had to go and which things needed to stay. So the main thing that I kind of relied on when it came to deciding what to prioritize and what to get rid of was to refer back to what I like to call my mission criticals. It's just another one of those things where I'm making up a name for absolutely no reason for my stuff. You know I love to do that if you've watched my other videos. So my mission criticals are basically the things that I have to do in my business in order for my business to run properly. So there are things like creating content, which for someone else might not be a mission critical, but for me, if I don't create content and release a minimum amount of content across all of my channels per week, my business isn't really gonna grow. Like, content creation is a very important part of my business. I mean, I am a content creator, so I mean, it'd be weird if it wasn't. But that for me is a mission critical. An example of something which isn't mission critical would be me updating the design of one of the pages on my website. So for some people, that is mission critical because maybe their website isn't working for them and maybe they're not getting many clients or leads and therefore they desperately need to give their website some TLC. For me, my website works fine. So yes, I update pages, I update the branding, I tweak it to ensure that it's constantly improving and, you know, it's constantly remaining effective. However, if I didn't spend the time to update whatever page that I need to update 1 week, my business isn't going to fail as a result of it. My business will still run and it will still grow, right? So it's something that I want to do, yes, but it isn't a mission critical. So it's important that you get clear on what your mission criticals are and what they aren't. And if you have a job as well, whether it's a full-time job or a part-time job, take that into account, right? When I had a full-time job and I ran this business, I looked at everything that I had to do holistically, not just the things that I had to do in my business. So I looked at the things that I had to do as part of my job, and those were always my mission criticals, because if I didn't do my job properly, I would lose it. So it's important to look at everything that you need to do, your whole to-do list, what you need to get done, and categorize everything, right? Get a clear view on which of those tasks are mission critical and which of them aren't. So once you've done that, you'll have a clear idea of what needs to be prioritized and what can actually wait. In the next section, I'm going to tell you a bit about the systems and processes that I use to plan my week and stay productive. But having a clear understanding of what your mission criticals are is going to really help you when it comes to planning and stuff like that, because really every single day you want to have a good, clear idea of what your top priorities are. And when you know what your mission criticals are, you know what your top priorities are, right? So the next tip I want to give you in regards to prioritization is pretty ruthless, right? So I'm not saying you should definitely do this. I want you to exercise caution, guys. But essentially what it is If I reschedule a task more than 3 times, I just delete it. Let me explain to you why this works for me. If I've rescheduled a task more than 3 times, I'm probably going to continue to reschedule it. And do you know why I'm going to continue to reschedule it? It's because it's obviously not mission critical, because if it was, I would have done it, right? Which means that it doesn't really need to get done. And from a personal standpoint, so I'm not saying that you're going to be the same way, but I know how I am, right? If I have already decided that I can reschedule a task on multiple occasions, I've already devalued it. Like, it's already something that in my mind, I don't think needs to get done. If I keep on rescheduling it, I don't respect that task anymore. The task has lost my respect. And if a task has lost my respect, let me tell you, it cannot get it back. I will continue to reschedule it for years on end, and it'll just become that annoying thing that is constantly on my to-do list that never gets done. So delete it, free up that space, use that time doing something what definitely matters, use that time doing something what's mission critical. Again, exercise with caution. I don't want you to start, deleting a really important task. Obviously, use your own common sense with it, but it's just something that really works for me. Okay, let's talk about systems and processes, because this is really key when you're trying to level up your productivity. You really need to make sure that you've got the right systems and processes in place which allow you to actually be productive and efficient. So it's worth me just explaining what I mean by systems and processes in this context, right? So I'm referring to what you use to plan your day. What I use to plan my day is 2 different systems. So I use Asana, which is like I guess it's like a project management tool. And then I also use my planner. Now, I'm a firm believer in having 2 different systems, right? And the reason why is because they actually both have different roles. So I'm going to put a screen recording of Asana up on the screen so you can have a look at what my Asana looks like. Now, obviously I'm not showing you the whole of my Asana because it's actually quite it's got quite a few different layers to it now because I've been using it for so long and I've just been building on it, right? If you want more information on how I use Asana as a content creator specifically, I do have a video on that. So I'll link to it up here so you can give it a watch. But essentially, Asana is the platform that I use to plan my whole year. Like, Asana is really for my holistic view of what I need to get done in my business. So if you are someone who has a business as a side hustle or full-time, or if you're someone who works in a job where you really have to have full sight of what you're doing for a long period of time, sometimes paper planners aren't going to cut it when it comes to that stuff. You really need something that's really robust, which allows you to look into the future, plan out everything you want to do month by month, move things around easily without having to cross things out and rub things out. You really need to be able to move things around simply. And Asana is a really great tool for that. There are other really great tools. Notion is one that a lot of people use. Monday is one that I've used before, but I just didn't really rate it that much. So it's up to you what you use, but Asana is my God, it's literally changed my business when I migrated to Asana. And a quick bonus tip for you, if you're looking into Asana and you actually decide to migrate to Asana, is to really make use of the calendar tab. So the calendar tab is the tab which allows you to see all of the tasks that you have scheduled day by day, month by month. And it's really easy for you to scroll through that view and really see, okay, my August is really, really busy, or my November is too busy, or okay, I need to rearrange something. Maybe I can just move that down to September because that looks free. That view allows you to do it. Now, they have so many other views, and the view that you prefer will really depend on you and just kind of how you consume information. For me, the calendar view is the only way I can really understand what's going on in my business. I can't do it by list. I can't do it by board. I need the calendar view. So that's a quick tip for you if you ever want to migrate to Asana or any other similar platform. That calendar view, godsend. The other process or system that I use to make sure that I'm being productive is my paper process. So I use Papier planners. I will link to the website below. This isn't sponsored. I do like them. They're my favorite planner. However, I'm always in the market for a new planner. I never have a planner that has everything I need on it. So if you know of any other planners, specifically small businesses, because I would love to purchase a planner from a small business owner. So if you know of any, if you could just DM me on Instagram or maybe share some websites in the comments, I would absolutely love that. But essentially at the minute I use Papier planners. And essentially what I do is every Sunday night, if I'm not too tired, I will get up my Asana, which will give me an holistic view of what needs to get done when. And then I'll get out my Papier planner and I will write my key task list for the week, right? So I'll write down everything what needs to get done for for the week coming up, and then I'll also write down my top 3 priorities. So once I've done that, I set it aside, I enjoy the rest of my Sunday, and then each morning I'll spend 10 to 15 minutes writing down my to-do list for the day, and I'll look at my weekly to-do list for that, I'll look at my Asana for that to make sure I've not missed anything. I'll write down my to-do list for that day, and then I'll also time block. And that's what I like about the Papillon planners, is that there's a really clear place for me to write down my to-do list, to also write down top 3 priorities per day, but then also time block as well. So I know that when I'm time blocking and writing down what I'm doing when, I know that I'm doing all of the things that I need to be doing because my to-do list is to my right. You might think, okay, that sounds like too much and it sounds like I'm doubling up, right? Because essentially you could just use Asana to plan your day every single day. The reason why I like to do both though is because I really think there's power in writing things down. Like writing your to-do list, writing your time block, there's so much power in it. And I don't know the stats behind it or anything like that, but I've read a lot of productivity books and a lot of books say the same thing. I think it reinforces the task for you. Like it keeps it front of mind, and there's something really powerful in the process of crossing things off as well. And yeah, you can tick things off on Asana 100%, and that's also great. Sometimes it gives you like this celebration animation on the screen, which I get a bit of a kick out of. But there's also something so powerful in just crossing things off your to-do list with an actual pen. And yeah, that's the reason why I like to do both. I know I'm potentially doubling up, but it's just my way of processing all the things that I need to do. So those are my systems and processes for planning my day, planning my week, keeping myself on track. So my final tip for you might sound counterproductive, and what it basically is to clear your head. And the reason why this might sound counterproductive is because in order for you to clear your head, you actually need to dedicate some of your day to doing things which aren't related to work. So every single day without fail, I've not always done this, so you know, I don't want to pretend like I'm this person who's just flawless in this way. I'm really not. But every single day now, without fail, I will make time to either go for a walk, and it will be a significant walk, like we're talking at least 45 minutes to an hour and a half, right? I will dedicate time to either go for a walk, go to the gym, or read. Ideally, I do more than one of those things in one day. Like this morning I read for 15 minutes and then I went to the gym, right? And I'll probably go for a walk after work. And do you know why I'm doing all 3 of those things today and not just doing one? It's because I've got so much work on, right? I've got so much work to do this week that I need to make sure that every single day I'm spending an hour to 2 hours just clearing my head, going for walks, reading, going to the gym, whatever you need to do, what clears your head, that's what you need to make sure that you spend time doing. And the more busy you are, the more time you need to spend clearing your head. And I know that sounds really weird, but when you're really busy and you're overwhelmed, your productivity is massively impacted. You become quite scattered. Again, let me not speak on behalf of you because I don't know whether you actually do this as well. I become very scattered, right? If I'm overwhelmed and I'm literally waking up and getting straight to work, I'm working long hours and I'm going straight to bed, I'm not giving myself any time to decompress. And the result is that I'm stressed, I'm overwhelmed, I'm scattered. The work that I'm doing isn't as good as it could be, but also I'm not being as productive as I could be because my mind is all over the place. So you need to spend time clearing your head. There's a really famous quote which says something along the lines of, I have so much to do today that I better make sure that I meditate for twice as long. So that's essentially saying, like, I'm so busy that I need to make sure that I spend twice as much time clearing my head and getting ready for the day that I normally do. So it's kind of like a similar principle. Another thing that I like to do, which is kind of along the same lines of clearing your head, mindset, that kind of stuff, is I like to visualize my day. And I don't do this all the time, but when I do it, I do see a significant increase in my productivity, but also in how much I enjoy my day. So sometimes in the morning, I'll spend like 5 minutes, if that, just visualizing how I want my day to go. So I'll visualize having like a good session at the gym. I will visualize getting like my favorite coffee. I will visualize just creating some great content and it being easy and it feeling easy to me. I will visualize me getting that presentation I needed to get done. I'll visualize all of this stuff. And when I visualize it, I kind of see myself doing it with ease and enjoying it. And it actually really works. I don't know if you're into all that kind of stuff, but let me tell you guys, don't knock it till you try it, because it really, really works for me, especially when I have a big day coming up, like when I'm speaking at a conference or, you know, doing something which is quite nerve-wracking. If I visualize myself doing that thing and doing it well, then it usually makes the whole process and the whole day a lot more enjoyable for me. So that's it for today's video. Can you let me know if you enjoyed this one? Because I don't usually do productivity style videos, but it is actually like a bit of a passion point for mine. So I'd love to do more, but I just need you guys to tell me whether or not you want more from me. If you feel like hanging about, I recommend checking out this video. It is all about my top tips to becoming a full-time content creator in 2022. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I'll see you in my next video.